Race 2 of the weekend for the GT4 European Series here at the Nürburgring. The sun is shining. It's going to be a busy grid. We're 10 minutes away from the start of formation lap with just 2 more races to go after this weekend, and it's been a significant one for the championship thus far, especially in the Silver Cup, because yesterday second place went to Bailey Voisin and Charlie Fagg. They led the first part of the race after a good stint by Bailey Voisin, but significantly the team with which they were tied on points coming into the weekend, the Toyota of Stéphane Lemray and Antoine Potti, did not score. The car had a stone go through the radiator yesterday, and it meant that Stéphane Lemray had a reduction in pace, and eventually the car retired from the race, and that was the end of the ability to score points for the CMR squad yesterday. It means, therefore, that Charlie Fagg and Bailey Voisin come into this race with a much greater championship advantage. Got one car there that has ground to a halt coming out of the pit lane. Look, the Allied Racing Cayman has parked at pit out with a problem. So what's going to happen to that next? We'll keep an eye on that as the cars then make their way round to the grid. But that Cayman should not be parked there. So the driver possibly doing a Control-Alt-Delete. Is that the 26th entry of Alexander Hartwig and Joel Camathias potentially? I think it might well be. So that car trying to get going again, trying to get round to its grid position, but with a problem. So the Allied Racing Squad, no, number 20 indeed it is, the sister car of Jan Kasperlik to start here, returning to the GT4 European Series, and that car has left the pit lane, as you see, but then has hit a problem and stops on the run down towards turn 1. The rest of the field, this mighty field of cars, head towards the grid. Yesterday we had the Pro-Am Championship won provisionally by Greg Gilbert and Fabien Michel. So that is already in the book going into the final brace of races and after this weekend, and the AM competition with another win yesterday for Michael Blanchemin and Christophe Amon, continuing their advantage therein, and they will seek to gain yet further ground over Andrea Benazet and Wilfried Casabon over the next 1 hour of racing. Mandatory pit stop window, of course, 25 to 35 minutes, 92 seconds being the requisite time to be served in the pit lane line to line, and the grid now taking shape with this based on Q2. Pole position again going to United Autosports and the McLaren, this time the number 32 entry of Dean McDonald, who did the time, and alongside Jim Pla in the Mercedes that he shares with the redoubtable Jean-Luc Bobelic. Row 2 of the grid, Charlie Fagg and Theo Nue, who along with Jan Marszalowski won yesterday in the Team Zack Speed Mercedes, a car that's guesting in the championship, but did an excellent job yesterday, both Jan Marszalowski in the first stint, and then Charlie Fagg, very unlucky. He pitted a lap earlier but got caught in traffic on his first lap of his stint, and that just cost him the time. Effectively, when that car with Theo Nue at the wheel came out of the pits a lap later, they were side by side to turn 1, but Nue had the inside line, claimed the lead, and then for the next half of the race, Charlie Fagg sat on the back of him, tried to force an error out of Nue. It never really came, and in the end the Mercedes was able to control the race up to the checkered flag. It was a real cat and mouse battle between them, but the Mercedes took race honours then yesterday, with the McLaren's 2nd and 3rd, the Voisin Fagg entry ahead of Gus Bowers and Dean McDonald. 4th yesterday, Timon Nabouers, along with Yot Raponge in the Chevrolet Camaro. 5th, Robert Constanet and Benjamin Lariche, and 6th, Ruben Delsart and Tom Canning. They both gained ground on the last lap because Beke Bessler in the BMW shared with Chembel at Basel had a moment and lost some time. 8th to win Pro-Am Championship and race yesterday, Fabien Michel and Greg Gilbert ahead of Rui Meerhaus and Clement Zeiler, with Luc Ibanieff and Xavier Lloveras rounding out the top 10 yesterday. So the cars making their way now up to the grid. The countdown will then continue. There is yesterday's winning car heading into position. And that's Jim Pla with the Mercedes, who's going to be on the outside of the front row of the grid. So for the ACA ASP team, that car just pushed back into place. ACA, another busy squad, running cars in GT3 and GT4, and of course a number of the drivers also doing double duty, leaping from one configuration to another. And on a slightly different note, some also doing GT3 in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo this weekend, but the ACA engineers check that the Mercedes is all good. Now, pole position, Dean McDonald's McLaren, he shares it with Gus Bowers, who started yesterday. Gus does stint 2 today, and he's on the grid ready to talk to Gemma Scott.
Gus, obviously Dean put in the time yesterday to get the pole position. You drove an outstanding race yesterday, struggling with tyres towards the end. What's the plan today?
Yeah, we made a few changes because towards the end of that race we really started to struggle and nearly cost us a podium. So made a few changes and hoping this will help us towards the back end of the race.
So you're confident that you can stay up the front today?
Yeah. Obviously track position is very crucial here, and so hopefully if Dean gets off to a good start, I'm sure we can try and hold our position and hope to be on that top step for the podium.
Excellent. It certainly seemed to be a strong weekend for the McLarens.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't think the circuit would suit us too much, but it's turned out very well. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a good result for the team, and hopefully we can get a double podium, just like we did yesterday.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So Gus Bowers moving up from UK GT racing into the GT4 European Series this year with the United Autosports McLaren. There's the sister car that will be lining up one row back today. Charlie Fagg will go first, having had 3 race wins, 2 of which came at Monza at the start of the season, another one coming at Spa. Dean McDonald on pole position, his 2nd pole of the season, just to give him all due credit for that. And Charlie Fagg in the car. Bailey Voisin will do the 2nd stint. The Voisin dynasty continues. His younger brother Callum is also one of the pace setters right now in the UK-based Ginetta Junior Teenagers Championship. And there is the grid formed and just about ready to go then. So very shortly we'll get things underway. We're 3 minutes away from the start of the formation lap. Let's go down to the grid again. Yesterday, Team Zaxpeed were the winners. Gemma's caught up with the team this morning.
You guys were driving outstandingly yesterday, a fantastic day. Starting from the 2nd road, a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, for sure. It will be definitely very hard this race. I think much harder than yesterday because it will be hard to overtake the McLarens because they're so fast in the straight line. But for sure we will try everything and win the race. That's what we're here for as guest starters. So yeah, we'll give our best.
You talk about there the difficulty in overtaking the McLarens, but of course this circuit is a tough circuit. Where will those opportunities arise?
I think the best opportunity maybe is after the Schumacher S into the right corner, probably turn 1, when they turn off their party mode from qualifying. But yeah, it will be difficult. Let's see, maybe also in the pit lane we can do something. But yeah, we have to see how the race is going out, and maybe also the other Mercedes can fight a little bit with them and help us.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to that first run into turn 1.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much. Have a great race.
Jan Marszalowski, part of the winning combination of yesterday. Jan also got the fastest lap in yesterday's race. Also, to make the point, that's a guest car, so it doesn't score points. It means that wherever it finishes, you kind of ignore that for the purposes of points. So all they can do is win the race for pride. They're not here for points. Enzo Juliet starts in this Mercedes, number 74, a little bit further back on the grid. That car on the 3rd row for the CD Sport team. And lining up alongside that will be Nikolai Müller-Madsen in the Allied Racing Porsche. Nikolai, quick driver. Joel Sturm has just been on track in the recent GT3 qualifying sessions. He's got to adapt to a GT4 car again, but Nikolai Müller-Madsen is good to go. They had a win at Spa in the 2nd race. So now, as the teams get set, the engines fire up, the grid is cleared. We'll get the formation lap underway very shortly indeed, and then we can go racing in this, the 10th race of the 2021 GT4 European Series. So yesterday, that win for Marszalowski and Theo Nue, who starts today. Theo Nue reigning Silver Cup champion. 2nd yesterday, Bailey Voisin and Charlie Fagg. And 3rd, best result of the year, in fact, for Dean McDonald and Gus Bowers. Pro-Am winners yesterday to take the championship. Fabian Michel and Greg Gilbert. And the best of the AMs in yesterday's race was Christophe Hamon and Michael Blanchemin once again, taking a 2nd win of the season. So I think we're just about set, aren't we, as the pace car as it is pulls away. Dean McDonald sets off for United Autosports, trying to get the warmth into the Pirelli tyres. See how much shade there is in the big grandstands on the way down towards turn 1, the arena. But then as they will work their way through the right and then loop all the way around turn 2, we are looking forward to what promises to be a really lively race. Dean McDonald then on pole position, and Jim Pla, very feisty driver, lines up alongside him. Row 2 is Charlie Fagg and Theo Nue. Enzo Juliet and Nikolai Müller-Madsen are on the third row of the grid, ahead of Greg Gilbert and then Tom Canning. On the sixth row is going to be Luc Ivaniev to start. Ignores Xavier Lloveras, he will do the second stint. Clement Zeiler will be alongside. Then Hugo Chevalier and Antoine Potty, hoping for points today. Needs a good result after yesterday's disappointment to keep the championship hopes alive. Becky Bessler and Vincent Beltoise are on the next row of the grid, ahead of Jock Raponge and then Maxime Soulet on the outside. Timothy Bure and Gabriela Ilkova share the ninth row of the grid, ahead of Jamie Caroline and Benjamin Lariche for Team Speedcar with the Audi. Another Audi next, Romain Ionetta. Zandvoort winner Konstantin Lachenau's Aston Martin lines up for 22nd ahead of Antoine Leclerc and then Jagish Gedik's BMW. The Turkish driver 24th ahead of Ralph Kalleners and Andrea Benezet for Toyota. Then it is Rafael Villanueva and Joaquim Macias ahead of Ben Dur and Max Busnelli in the Porsche ahead of Paul Teisgens and Benjamin Ricci in the ACA ASP Mercedes. Ugo Condas, AGS Events, Aston Martin and Jakob Noel, sellers like Mercedes ahead of Paul Teisgens, and then hopefully Jan Kasperlik will try to see whether that car got to the grid. I don't think I saw it arrive. Anthony Hodgson and Michael Blanchemin are next ahead of Max Trasoldi and then Eric Hare, with the grid completed by Henrik Pedersen, the AM Cup ex-Legends racer for the Hella Padgett Racing 1 Aston Martin squad. So that's turn 8 that the cars are going down to. Then they climb the hill up through the Schumacher S. That part of the circuit that was a bit gravelly earlier on in the day, it's been swept, and as people bounce over the curb, it always ends up being a little bit more treacherous, especially late race in a long race where there's all rubber junked onto the road as well. But it's a quick part of the circuit, that. So the weaving around, it's a slow formation lap in fairness, but the drivers trying to get some temperature into the rubber before they go racing. The race director, Steve Burns, the British race official, will give the signal to get things underway, assuming he's happy with how everybody forms up coming out of the chicane in that side-by-side formation. Number 30 Alpine there of Vincent Beltoise for this stint. Comes up to the approach now to the Ad Van Bogen out of the Bilstein curve. And now the cars get themselves into formation. So as they come out of the Bilstein curve, they now start to form up on instruction. And there, number 13, the Mercedes of yesterday's winner, Thierry Neuer, alongside his big rival of yesterday, Charlie Fagg. That battle set to continue here, and Charlie will be absolutely determined to get ahead, to stay ahead over the first part of this race then, as the cars now make the run up towards the chicane. They'll turn their way in a moment into the left and right-handed elements of this part of the circuit, and then make the run up towards the timing line to get this 10th race of the 12 in the season underway. So now to the start of the race proper. Side by side, it is Dean McDonald on pole position. Alongside him is Jim Pla, the second row of the grid, the second of the UA McLarens, that of Charlie Fagg. Alongside him is Thierry Neuer, the third row of the grid, Enzo Julier's Mercedes, and to slot into place alongside him, Nikolai Müller-Madsen. They come up towards the line, then it's a 1 hour race. It is the 10th round of the championship, and it is go, and a good start made then by Dean McDonald, but Charlie Fagg is on his toes. He jumps ahead of Jim Pla, so the aero of the McLaren's good off the line as they head down towards turn 1. Nikolai Müller-Madsen's black Porsche on the outside line of Thierry Neuer. He keeps on coming, and Neuer dropping down the order. Wide goes Pla, up the inside goes Juliet, and Müller-Madsen tries to get between them, and he does so, but there's contact there, and around goes one of the Audis. Was that Greg Gilbert in the Santalok Audi, the new Pro-Am champion, I think it was, number 42 Audi then, gets turned around as the cars come. McLaren 1-2 up through turn 3 for the first time of asking. So drama at the first couple of corners, and the McLarens then may well have switched order then as they come towards us. The two United Autosports cars running together, and it is up front then still Dean McDonald, but only just. Charlie Fagg right there with him. They were side by side around the arena for the first time, but Dean McDonald just able to hang on to position as they drop down the hill. So McDonald leads, Fagg in second spot. And Greg Gilbert is going to have a lot of work to do now to try to play catch-up as they come down through the turn 8 right-hander. Good start by Enzo Juliet then, up from the third row of the grid to third place, jumping ahead of Jim Pla. And then down in what's that going to be 6th place. In fact, Théo Nui, yesterday's winner. So not a great getaway, and being a bit cautious through the arena has also done for him as the cars flick through the Schumacher S for the first time, bounce over the curb, kick up the dust and the gravel. Then going through is Gabriela Yilkova, under attack from Konstantin Lachnau as the race leaders work their way here up through the Ravenel and then the Bilstein curves. McLaren 1-2, Mercedes 3-4, Porsche 5, Mercedes 6 on the opening lap of the race. We've got a yellow flag out in the first sector, we understand, as the cars now pound their way through the Advan Kink, the Advan Bogen for the first time. Clement Zeiler there up the inside of Vincent Beltoire's Audi versus Alpine, overlapping as they come towards the chicane. But up front, it's still the McLarens, first and second, as they head now out of turn 17, up towards the timing line. Antoine Potty making progress there in the Toyota, but it's McDonald ahead at the moment. In second place is Charlie Fagg as the McLarens come through together in formation. Enzo Julier runs third, Jim Plat fourth, fifth, Nicolai Moller-Madsen. Théo Nui is sixth, Hugo Chevalier seventh in his Mercedes. In eighth place is the all-Spanish Mercedes with Luc Ibanez at the wheel. Ninth, Becco Besler's BMW, and 10th is Antoine Potty. So the race leaders turn their way through the arena once more. Onto the power. And so now, confirmation, it was Greg Gilbert that got turned around, and Jan Kasperlik's car, I don't think ever got into the race. It did, as we had seen, leave the pit lane, but that car a non-starter. So big disappointment for the Allied Racing squad, and we've got one coming into the pits as well, which is Andrea Benezet's Toyota, which had a drama yesterday. Let's have another look at the start, just try and piece together what happened coming out of turn one. Have a look to about the fourth row of the grid. On the inside, you'll see the blue and white Audi of Greg Gilbert. So he's now effectively third in the queue on the very inside line. Nicolai Moller-Madsen goes for a gap in the middle, and as they come out of the corner, Nui turns, takes the line and just bounces off the side of the Audi, enough to tip that into a spin. Here it is from another angle. Have a look. Moller-Madsen squeezes his way through, but so many cars going for the same bit of real estate, and the Audi of Gilbert is the one that came off worse. So that car rotates, the rest of the field file through, but Greg Gilbert did not get going. So presumably that contact has broken something. Around he went, and Greg Gilbert, good job they won the class and the championship yesterday, because he's not going to get further than the opening couple of corners here. So lap two, the race leaders work up towards the exit of the chicane now, down through turn 17. And Dean McDonald, who managed to hang on through the arena to keep the lead on the opening lap, still leads, and he's trying to get away from Charlie Fagg, and that is Jamie Caroline out of the race with damage. You can see the damage on the front wheel. Now, that car yesterday retired with damage. It's been a very bad weekend for the Scuderia Villorba Corsa squad, and that's going to need retrieval. Yellow flags out on track as there. Théo Nui now starts the fight back, comes up to have a go at Nicolai Moller-Madsen as they turn their way out of the right-hander of turn one. So we're starting to lose cars quite early in the race. Frustrating to hear, but not, I'm glad to say, in that leading gaggle. Nicolai Moller-Madsen there having to go defensive right now, and therefore keep at bay Théo Nui, who is there behind him. The cars now sprint down towards turn four, and the margin between the McLarens half a second going onto this lap. Good battle here, Moller-Madsen then versus Nui, and they are bringing with them Hugo Chevalier, number 2 in the next to the Mercedes. Luc Ibanez is next in the queue in number 15 Mercedes as they make the run down the hill. He is in 8th place, and then you can see just over his shoulder the bright blue BMW, Becco Besler at the wheel. So there is Moller-Madsen, Théo Nui behind him. Now the Mercedes yesterday, when fighting for the race lead, very, very strong around this section of the circuit. Is it going to be the same again here? Well, it's quick. It's certainly got the grunt up the hill, as you see there. Enzo Julier, rallycross style almost, go across the grass and the gravel and the curbing there, going up through the chicane, the Schumacher S, and now to the inside line goes the Mercedes in the hands of Nui, but that's more to defend from Hugo Chevalier, because again, he's under attack rather than being able to attack there. Strange all of this. Nui had really good pace yesterday, but he got mugged off the line as we saw, and he's not being able to retaliate. And now Chevalier is a man on a mission. He has closed right up then as the cars accelerate once again up through the Advan Bogen. They head now towards the chicane, but Chevalier looking for a way past Nui. All over the curbs goes Nue, and now Chevalier makes his move to the inside line, breaks as late as he dares, scrabbles through. Ibanez's going to have a go as well, number 15, Mercedes. He's got the inside line. Onto the pit straight they come, nose to tail. Chevalier almost being pushed along there by the Zach Speed car of Theo Nue. Tries to get a toe off him as they come past the pits and then make a move to get the place back down towards turn 1. Behind, look, you can see the way that not only has Ibanez caught up, but so also now is Berke Besler and Tom Canning. So it's 5 in a line as they go round turn 1. But a good move by Chevalier, putting him 6th. And that battle pack around him is growing all the time. Look, as the cars now swing their way down towards turn 2 once again. Now into 3, and there to the outside line. Berke Besler's bright blue BMW tries to get track position for this corner. If you go to the outside there, the road should come to you on the inside if you're fully level, but he wasn't quite able to do that. Luc Ibanez fends him off for the moment. The cars now accelerate their way down the hill once again, out of turn 5 here. So up front, race leaders, 7 tenths apart, but the two McLarens, what did Jan Marszalewski describe it as? Party mode, where they are really good in qualifying. Well, they're good in the race as well, and they're pulling away now from Enzo Juliet, who's going better than we've seen all season after that good qualifying effort. He's 3rd, still 4th, Jim Pla, not making the progress anticipated from the front row, that's for sure. And then Nikolai Moller-Madsen 5th, with this great battle going on for 6th between Chevalier, Nue, then Ibanez, Besler and Tom Canning to round out the top 10. So the race leaders currently work lap number 4, and Theo Nue has got himself settled again in a sense. He's not now being able to attack this car, Hugo Chevalier, the CD Sport Mercedes, but he is now being able to at least fend off the challenge from behind of Luc Ibanez. But Ibanez might have to think about that BMW fairly shortly, because Berke Besler is also going quickly. Out of the chicane they come, and now towards turn 17, as hard on the brakes, Ibanez gets away from the BM and closes onto the tail of Nue. The race leaders break the beam. They go through with a margin up to 8 tenths of a second now between the two McLarens. They got that good 2-3 finish yesterday. Can they go for a 1-2 today? It was effectively a 1-2 for points yesterday, but the result sheet shows them as 2-3 as Nue lunges up the inside there, going down towards turn 1. You're looking at the Besler-Canning battle, but of the Mercedes, did Nue go through? I think he did. So Hugo Chevalier loses out, and yes, Theo Nue has done it. So the Zach Speed mobile car goes through, and Hugo Chevalier forced back down again into 7th place, and it might become 8th in a moment because Ibanez is right on his tail. Jim Pla with the lights flashing, and Enzo Juliet. This is for 3rd place. They come now out of turn 5, but there's only, if you're really brave, a chance to dive through at 6. Plunge downhill now. So Jim Pla rides the curb and makes the run down towards the Sudkurve. Road plunges down the hill at this point, and Jim Pla looks to the inside and gets the job done. Door was left open really there by Enzo Juliet, who didn't put up a huge amount of a fight for that. So Jim Pla goes through. The ACA car gets ahead of the CD Sport entry, and now Jim Pla, hopefully for his sake, will be able to pull away and go after the McLarens. He has to do the hard yards in this first stint before he hands over to Jean-Luc Bobelic, who is not as quick, so the hard effort has to be done now to try and haul the car up the order. So there, down into 4th place, Enzo Juliet. 3rd is Jim Pla. The McLaren still 1st and 2nd then. And getting a replay here of how was that Jamie Caroline came to grief. It was quite a big impact for whoever it was. Coming out of turn 4, I think that was. The car with damage, so quite a few suffering early doors in this race. Jagish Gedik's BMW, another one that's been in the pits, so also Ben Dorr, and Antoine Potty unnoticed, but he's in the pits as well. So the stone through the radiator yesterday, putting the car out of the race, and another retirement effectively looms for the Toyota today, and that's effectively the championship dream over with what's going to be 2 non-scores. So the Toyota out of the race. Bad news for CMR in the championship in Silver Cup. Good news for United Autosports that run 1 and 2 here over the line. Still 3rd is Jim Pla, 4th Juliet, 5th Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Good fight going on lower down here. Ralph Kellerner's number 9 Audi trying to make progress against number 26 of Joel Camathias, the former champ car racer. vastly experienced sports car racer is Ralph Kelleners in Christian Gyesi's Audi. Christian himself is not as fast by any means as Ralph Kelleners, so Ralph just does what he can in the first stint, gets stuck in, and he's also coming under attack because right there behind him is Ron Iannetta in the bright yellow Audi. So going down the hill, heading towards turn 5 behind Iannetta is Max Busnelli in the Porsche Centricino Porsche, the Cayman. There it is, up the curb. And behind him, Rafael Villanueva in the next of the NM Racing Team Mercedes. So downhill with still 48 minutes to go. Pit window between 25 and 35 minutes, don't forget, with that 92 second pit stop time line to line that's got to be achieved by everybody. Dean McDonald leading now by 1.3 seconds, that margin growing a little bit. So the race leaders make that run once more up to the Ad Van Bogen, then on towards the chicane. There going through is the better of the two BMWs, Beke Besler. The incident on the first lap, no investigation necessary according to the race officials, so it was just a racing incident. And now Besler under attack. Tom Canning, who won the GT4 class of British GT early in his career, he's on the back of the BMW now as they sprint up towards the line. So Tom Canning on the attack. The Mirage Racing Aston Martin on the back of the Borusan Automotive BMW. Through they go, but in towards the right-hander of turn 1. Tom Canning not able to make a move there. So the race leaders head down through the arena. Up the curve goes number 12 BMW then, so Beke Besler, who had a last lap spin yesterday, very eager to avenge all of that and deliver a good result for the team in this second race of the weekend. Bit of a twitch under braking there from Nikolai Müller-Madsen. And Theo Nue, having got back ahead of Hugo Chevalier, has caught up to the Porsche quite nicely. Now he's going to try to find a way by. Dean McDonald, as the race leader, has done the fastest lap of the race. Theo Nue now downhill once again. Off the road there is number 45, which is the car of Hugo Condé and Gilles Vannelet. Hugo Condé behind the wheel of it, and that's a long way off the racetrack in the arena, and looking as though that's the end of its race. If it's that far off, it's had some big drama to put it so far off. So the leaders currently work lap 7. Yesterday he got through the with 28 laps. That's the target. No safety cars yesterday, no full course yellows to have to worry about. And right now you're looking at the fight for 5th place heading up the hill, and it's still Porsche versus Mercedes. Nikolai Müller-Madsen under attack from Theo Nue. But is that Mercedes going to be able to find a way by? For the moment, the answer looks like it's a no. Müller-Madsen hangs on to position as they come now over the line. So the McLarens go through, still first and second. Jim Plough's Mercedes third. On that lap, in fact, Jim did an absolute best in the first sector, but everybody getting a little bit quicker, and so Jim Plough fractionally faster than the McLaren in second place. So yes, he is closing on Charlie Fagg, that gap down to just over a second now as Müller-Madsen fends off Theo Nue, and while they squabble, so back into the mix will come Hugo Chevalier. There he is. Chevalier next in the queue in the Mercedes as Nue tries to tighten the line there, going up through turn 3. The main target here is to try somehow to get up alongside the Porsche, but he can't do it there. And now they make that run once again down through turn 5. Theo Nue a bit frustrated because he's absolutely stuck behind the Porsche, and that means that he cannot do anything at all about the race leaders. Only if he can clear them can he think about going after Plough and Fagg and McDonald, and those McLarens with very competitive drivers, evenly matched drivers, they're going to be strong in the second stint as well. Time lost now is going to come back to hurt, so Nue knows this. He's got to somehow try and get ahead of that Porsche which jumped him on the opening lap of the race. Climb up the hill once again here. Schumacher S now towards the Ravenel curve. So there through goes aboard 22 Nikolai Monomadsen, former Audi driver, former silver champion going back a few seasons when he shared with Milan Doncia. So this 5th place battle. And interesting, isn't it, now that Nue has got away from Chevalier, he is not being caught again, at least on this lap. So the pace of the Zach Speed Mercedes, good enough to get him right onto the back of Monomadsen, but where does he find a way by? He's going to try at turn 1, and the move really has to start here. So you need a good, smooth, quick run all the way around turn 17. So you come onto the pit straight now on the tail of your rival. This is where effectively you pull the trigger to make the move down to turn 1. Nue goes to the inside. Monomadsen, as expected, defends. Tio Nue tries the outside line, but has that Mercedes got the grunt in a straight line to pull it off? No. Goes back to the inside. Still can't do it. Turns out of the corner, and Nikolai Monomadsen hangs on to the place for now, but that brings back into the mix Chevalier, and also there with Ivaniev in the Mercedes. Ivaniev doing the first stint here and closing back into the mix. That car having had a win at Paul Ricard early on in the season. Bessler versus Canning in the background. So Monomadsen in the world's widest Cayman hangs onto the place for the moment, but he is having to work very, very hard indeed. So Hugo Chevalier goes through there in 7th place, and Jürgen Ivaniev right on his tail. There he is, the Spanish driver. The BMW of Beke Bessler bounces up the curve behind him. So the field here turns through the right-hander of turn 8. This is the fight going on for 5th and back, and the queue is growing all the time. The cork in the bottle to an extent is Monomadsen, because he's lost a massive chunk of time to this leading quartet, and in fact the man in no man's land there is Enzo Gillier. He's not catching, he's not being caught, but he's dropped away from Jim Pla. There is Monomadsen. Nue is stacked up behind him, then Chevalier, then Ivaniev as they turn their way out of the right-hander here of the Bilstein curve. A plunge downhill now. So as the cars go towards the chicane, there we have the Allied Racing Porsche flick through. Nikolai Monomadsen will give that car over for the 2nd stint to Joel Sturm. They had a win together at Spa. What can they do here? Race leaders go by over the timing line. So it is Dean McDonald ahead, Charlie Fagg 2nd. That gap's come down, and more drama for Beke Bessler, and damage on the back of the car as well. That suggests he may have had a bit of an assist in that spin. So the BMW gets away, but place after place after place lost. He's going to drop in behind Yilkova. That's going to be 17th over the line. And also with the back hanging off the car, he may be brought in by the scrutineers. Well, he had his own spin, and or did he have his own spin? Maybe as the bodywork sheds, he'd been tagged just before we caught sight of that, because it didn't look to be another car involved, but the bump might have come, which had already triggered that spin. Who was he fighting with? It was Tom Canning, wasn't it? So if we see damage on the front of the Aston Martin, piece it together accordingly. So there is the recovering Beke Bessler, and a big, big slide for Chevalier as he tries to have a go back at Tio Nue. So thinking, well, if you can't get past the Porsche, Tio, I'll have a go. He needs to first of all clear the Zach Speed Mercedes. This is a much tougher race than it was yesterday in terms of having to battle for places ahead and behind for Tio Nue. Yesterday he came out of the pits, got the advantage and hung on to take the win, whereas Jan Marszalowski had to do the hard yards in the first stint, fighting up from 3rd and giving the car over in the lead just. But right now, Tio Nue is working oh so hard. New to Mercedes this year, having been the class champion in Aston Martin's last season with Valentin Asclot, and he comes here now into turn 4 with Chevalier under attack once again from Luc Ivaniev. The race leaders are on lap number 10 of a potential 28. There they are. The gap has come down between them as Charlie Fagg hustles along. Now, is Bailey Voisin going to be quicker than Gus Bowers in the second stint? Well, the evidence of qualifying, at least, yes, because Gus took a pole position and, Bailey Voisin took a pole position, Gus Bowers did not, but we'll see how it pans out as they come now down towards the right-hander of turn 1. They've got about 2 more laps before they need to worry about the pit window. Bodywork lies by the side of the road. The danger in all of this is that Jim Pla has been chipping away little by little by little, and he's much closer now than he was to these 2 ahead of him. Race leaders turn through. So Jim Pla, currently leading in Pro-Am, makes the run now up to the approach of turn 5. But the Mercedes is, I'm afraid to say, going to drop down in that second stint. Jean-Luc Bobelic, who will take the car over, not as quick as Jim Pla is. And so that Mercedes can only really fight for a class position rather than overall. And it will, as I say, drop down. So Jim Pla taking the battle as best he can in this early part of the race to the 2 McLarens up the road ahead. And how is Theo Nue getting on? Well, he's shaken off Chevalier once more, but again, he's got a bit stuck behind Nicolai Müller-Madsen. Still can't find a way past him. So they turn their way now up the hill. They're going through Nicolai Müller-Madsen, who is 5th. We are 2 minutes and change really away from the pit window opening. So are things going to change in this battle before we get to that point? There you have the cars up front. Now the leading 3 turning through together. But it's looking very good indeed as far as the United Autosports McLarens are concerned, because those cars looking as though at the moment, at any rate, that the opposition ain't going to come to them, because the opposition here, namely that Zack-Speed Mercedes, is all a bit stuck in traffic. Up towards the timing line comes now Müller-Madsen. Behind him is Nue. The margin between the pair last time was 0.342 of a second. They go through once again, and the margin this time between the pair, 0.265 of a second. And the window will be open for the leaders at the end of this lap. So we'll see who makes that call to come in early, if anybody. In some cases, because you've got the Pro-Am cars, Pro goes first, they'll stay out to the end. If it's a silver, they're evenly matched, they can play that rather more strategically and decide when to come in. So the race leaders currently work lap number 12. Nicolai Müller-Madsen has certainly had a hard fight in this. The downside, even though he's kept his place, is that he's lost so much time relative to those ahead that it's going to be a big, big ask for Joel Sturm, unless we end up with a safety car that will bring him back into the game for the second part of the race, effectively. So the race leaders come through for the 12th time. This is the fight still going on for 5th and 6th. Nicolai Müller-Madsen ahead of Theo Nue. Down the hill they turn. Now Jim Pla is almost there, but he's going to run out of time, I suspect, because the pit window is imminent, and although the McLarens don't need to pit early, any time that is lost trying to find a way past them is going to hurt the Pro-Am effort ultimately. The next of the Pro-Ams, you've got to go down to 14th place. Maxime Soulet, driving number 34, will hand over to Luca Bosco. So that's the target really for Jean-Luc Bobelic, not to drop behind in the next stint of the race. Look across to see, as the window opens, whether any of the leading 3 go in, and the answer is no. But Theo Nue does pit early, that gets him out of the traffic. So Jan Marszalowski will take over that car, coming down the pit road, yesterday's winning Mercedes. It's going to be interesting now to see what he can do in the second part of this race. Over the line goes the Allied Racing Porsche then. So Müller-Madsen for the moment gets finally a free ride. That pressure taken off his shoulders. And look at the way that Jim Pla is still chasing after Charlie Fagg here. Fagg to hand over to Bailey Voisin, Dean McDonald to give way to Gus Bowers in the leading McLaren. pit stop cycles through for the Zakspeed team. Charles Camafias also in quite early there in the Allied Porsche. And also coming in, Max Busnelli for Porsche Centric Ticino. And the AM battle at the moment being led by the number 7 Aston Martin. If Michel Blanchemin and Christophe Amon win the class in the race, they're 4th at the moment, they will win the championship incidentally, but there's work to be done just yet. There's work to be done for Jim Pla as well. Flicks out of the Schumacher-esque, gets a face full of dust, kicked out by Charlie Fagg. Battle still on between those two. Now yesterday, United Autosports brought the McLarens in on separate laps. They're going to do the same thing here. We will see. Right now, the leader getting away, that's being Dean McDonald, because Charlie Fagg is coming under attack, is he not? He's got Jim Pla right up behind him, so do you stay out and defend and therefore go a little bit slower, or do you come into the pits early, risk getting involved in traffic in that second stint? Race leaders up towards the chicane. This, lap number 13. Approaching half distance, the window is open, and they all stay out. Jim Pla, you would expect to stay out for longer, as the quicker of the two drivers in that Pro-Am entry. In the background, 4th is Enzo Juliet, also staying out a little bit longer. So here is the battle further down, looking at number 4 Audi, and they're the second of the Zakspeed BMWs. That's the car of Gabriele Yilkova. Into the pit lane dives Benjamin Lariche in the speed car Audi. He will give that now to Robert Consani, who was pretty feisty yesterday when he started the race. Got involved in a skirmish or two heading through the chicane. But the Audi gets out of the traffic, goes down the pit lane, so Benjamin Lariche now drops down the order, ready to hand over to Robert Consani. Ralph Kelleners goes through. He will stay out for as long as he possibly can to give way to Christian Gysi in as good a race position as possible. And that, in the number 7 Aston Martin, is the AM class leader, Paul Tijskens. He shares this car, the Street Art Racing entry, with Pascal Bachmann. And the number 7 Aston rounds the arena. Now the danger to that is 69 Audi. If Christophe Amon and Michel Blanchemin take the class win, and they've got over half an hour in which to do that, then it gives them the championship, as I mentioned a little while ago. So in the second stint, keep an eye to the gaps in that AM competition as they're going through the Rapid Alpine, just a little bit further up the road in the hands of Antoine Leclerc. Now there, 32, the race leader, has got stuck in traffic. That is Ivan Jacoma out of the pits in the number 718 Cayman, but he's got in front of the leaders, and right now Dean McDonald is stuck, so his gap of over a second is coming down, and surely this is the time to shout over the radio, pit this time. So the Porsche goes a lap down, but time lost by Dean McDonald. Now does he bail, or does the sister car come in, because that's still stuck in traffic? Now they both stay out, and so does Jim Pla. So Charlie Fagg has to try to clear that Cayman. He should be able to do it now, but the Mercedes behind is the real threat. Jim Pla trying to take advantage of this as they come up over the line now, heading down towards turn 1. To the inside line goes Charlie Fagg. What he'd like to try to do is get that car between him and Pla all the way through the arena. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but he has jumped ahead. The aero good in a straight line coming down the hill. So there the Mercedes able to pull away, the McLaren able to pull away from the Mercedes, jumps ahead of the Porsche, and now Jim Pla is going to struggle a bit to get through, because normally that's a fairly competitive car. He makes the go on the inside line here into turn 3, but even that had to be a bit elbows out, didn't it? Because Ivan Jacoma now into a rhythm, driving at a comparable pace. So Pla had to be forceful, and it has worked. He's gone through. There, number 32, downhill once more goes Dean McDonald. So the gap had come down, but he stretched it a little bit coming out of turn 17. It's 0.8 of a second now, but certainly the net gain over the lap went to Charlie Fagg. Jim Pla has fallen away slightly in that 3rd place, and Tom Canning out of 10th is the leading car to have made a pit stop thus far. Out of the Schumacher-esque go the McLarens then, bouncing over the curb, the United Autosports duo keeping at bay. Jim Pla in 3rd spot. Enzo Juliet still fourth. Now, Juliet's last lap quicker than the 3 ahead of him. That was really to do with the traffic, but that just brings the Mercedes that will be given over to Sebastian Bode a little bit nearer to that battle pack up the road ahead. So as the leaders go through there after a pit stop, number 126 Mercedes, that now for Philipp Wawr, having taken over from Rafael Villanueva. To the pit lane finally comes Charlie Fagg. So the second place McLaren serves the stop ahead of its sister car, and now we'll see how this pans out at the end of the pit window, as also coming down the pit road looks to be Enzo Juliet's Mercedes. So that will come out from 4th place if it breaks the beam. It does indeed. So through Dean McDonald ahead of Jim Pla now. New order for the 1-2, 1.2 seconds between them is the margin. So there Charlie Fagg arrives. Nicolas Müller-Madsen is in as well in the Porsche. Lucky Bagneff is in as well to give way to Xavier Lloveras. Yotraponge in the Chevrolet, we've not yet seen much of, but that's come to the pit road. And they're ready to take over. Bailey Voisin. Move to the inside there. Number 34 Mercedes goes through. That's Maxime Soulet. Gabriela Yilkova, though, comes back at him as they work their way around the arena. Yilkova going nicely here, tries to squeeze to the inside line. The DAC Speed Mercedes regulars in the ADAC's GT4 Championship, standalone series in this country, coming as guests into the European Series, which is really good to see. And Gabriela Yilkova tries to pounce through the arena, but to no avail. That's a very busy pit lane right now. Ralph Kellener's in the blue Audi in the background. At the front, of course, at pit out, United Autosports. So they have that long drive down the pit lane. But, of course, as soon as you release the car, pretty much back up to race pace, you are straight away through that speed limit line and away. And they need to get the car out before this one comes in, don't they? Dean McDonald presses on in the lead of the race. Away now goes Bailey Voisin. So 23 back into the race. There's the leading car. So Dean McDonald has done a really good job. He's had a second pole position of the season. Yesterday's qualifying session gave him pole for this race, but in terms of race pace, best we've seen of him all season. And in he comes then with Jim Pla following suit. So the top two down the pit road. And the next question will be where they feed in relative to Bailey Voisin, who was second but pitted a lap earlier. So nose to tail they ran down the pit road. Acker at the top, United Autosports at the bottom. So the pit stop can be started earlier, if you like, by the Mercedes crew to get Jean-Luc Bobelic on board. The Audi just rejoining in the background is that of Gregory Faisal, the only soloist in the race. And there, 32 arrives at the United Autosports team, Gus Bowers, to take it over. He sprints around. Car controller takes that position at the front. Tyre pressure's checked. Adjusted if needs be. And there, Bailey Voisin out of the Schumacher S now. So this car trying now to jump ahead on these pit stops. So Bailey Voisin, a pole position winner yesterday. Good stint done by Dean McDonald. The Scottish driver dashes away from the car, having helped to strap in Gus Bowers. Charlie Kemp, I think that was, going to the front of the car, ready to control the release of number 32. Charlie, the man that operates the GT4 element of United Autosports, along with J.D. Hemmings, having been a winning team principal with HHC in the past. But there, up towards the chicane, comes Bailey Voisin, who has got to drive this outlet like it's a qualifying effort to try now to jump the sister car. They're going to end up being very, very close, I would think, on the run when 32 is released from the pit lane, which is imminent because the 92 seconds are coming towards the end. Onto the pit straight now goes 23. So 32 stays ahead of the Mercedes. And there are the McLarens coming down towards turn one. It's going to be close between them, but 32 hangs on to the advantage. So the top three remain in order. Jean-Luc Bobelic takes over from Jim Pla. He runs third. But now Bailey Voisin needs to try to strike whilst Gus Bowers gets himself into a rhythm. Through they come with Bobelic in third. He will hang on to the lead for the moment in Pro-Am. So the McLarens 1 and 2. Are we going to get a switch between the pair of them? down the hill now go the McLarens. We're on lap 17, and the margin between the pair, as you can see, is about 2 lengths, if that. And so the second place car of Bailey Voisin 1 lap further into a stint. Therefore, he's a little bit more settled in the car than Gus Bowers, who has got to try and get in, assess the car, assess the track, and also keep the race lead. Big ask. Comes now up to the Schumacher S. Charlie Fagg watching on for the pits. Bailey Voisin behind the wheel of 23, seeing if they can force a mistake out of the sister car. Voisin has certainly got the pace. Comes up to the inside, the outside, the inside again, trying to rattle Gus Bowers and find a way through. Teammates, yes, but 23 is here for a championship, so it's every man for himself right now as they come out of the Bilstein curve, downhill again. 23 minutes are on the clock, lap 17 out of an estimated 28, as the cars will now make the run towards the chicane. At the end of the pit stops, we'll start to get a better idea of exactly who is where in terms of driver pace, and also factor back in those that pitted a bit earlier, like Jan Marszalowski's number 13 Mercedes, yesterday's winning car. So, out of turn 17 comes the race leader. Gus Bowers, it is ahead, but only just. Bailey Voisin runs second. The pit window is now closed as over the timing line go the top 2. Jean-Luc Bobelic in the background runs third, but he's in danger of being caught for that class lead. Edouard Coopé is in 4th place, number 2 Mercedes. Paul Everard drops back behind as well. Now Marszalowski going nicely. He is gaining ground in number 13 as they come pouring past the pit. So it's now Bowers from Voisin, from Bobelic. Sebastian Bode, in fact, is 4th. Marszalowski is 5th, but quite a long way back, 12 seconds adrift. Joel Sturm is 6th. Xavier Lloveras is now 7th. Coopé is 8th, 9th is Everard, 10th is Timon Nabours. The McLarens are clear. Now, Jean-Luc Bobelic leads Pro-Am. The next Pro-Am car is down in 13th place, so he's still got a big, big lead there after Jim Plough's good efforts in the first stint. Looking at the background, you'll see the white Mercedes of Jan Marszalowski there, yesterday's winner, rattling over the curb, but that car is on a mission, certainly. Marszalowski did the fastest lap of yesterday's race. Dean McDonald has done it today, thus far, but Jan Marszalowski pressing on. You see the witness marks where he had that rub Theo Nuet at the wheel of the car in the first couple of corners. But he bounced from that, Theo Nuet, to carry on in the race. The McLarens still tied together, come out of the Schumacher S as one. The gap was 4/10 of a second when they went over the timing line. This is the part of the circuit where Gus Bowers feels more pressure, seemingly. Bailey Voisin just moves the car around a little bit more in the mirrors. He's quick into the Bilstein curve there. If he wants to try and attack at the chicane, it's a risk, but if he wants to try it, it's got to start now, coming down the hill. Lights flash, but again, there's no reason for Gus Bowers to get out of the way. He is quite happy to hang on to that place. He's quite happy to defend as best he can, because it's every man for himself. They are both determined to win. No team orders. And despite the fact 23 is going for a championship, the other drivers are customers as well. They want as good a result as possible. So Gus Bowers then comes into turn 17 as the race leader. We have got one crew under investigation for being short on the pit stop, Cesar Gazot and Konstantin Lachenau's AGS Aston Martin. Race leaders go through. The gap, 0.336 of a second this time. Behind them, Jean-Luc Bobelic is very definitely falling away, and Sebastian Bode is being caught by Jan Marszalowski, who's the quickest man on the racetrack right now. Marszalowski 11.4 seconds back, and he might get up with these McLarens by the very end. So the Mercedes 5th will be 4th, I reckon, before much longer at the expense of Sebastian Bode. Maybe that's another good reason for Voisin to get on with the job and try and clear Gus Bowers, because at the moment it looks like he's being ever so slightly delayed. Now he makes a look to the inside at turn 5, to no avail again. Swing their way down the hill again. Now this is turn 6, plunge down the hill, speed building all the time out of that tight right. A little bit more curb on exit used by Bowers there than by the chasing Bailey Voisin. Race leaders here out of turn 8. So United Autosports coming into the championship this year, doing a great job. As ever, there was quite a lot of noise before the event about Zach Brown and Richard Dean teaming up to drive, but we've had the same story for a number of rounds in the championship, and it's still yet to happen. So all eyes on the regular 2 cars in the championship. Gus Bowers turns his way now up through the Ravenel and Bilstein curves. And now the cars plunge down the hill once again. So the climb towards the chicane here. And there, the two McLarens well clear of Jean-Luc Boberly, who in turn is still well clear in his class. And Jan Marszalowski is about to make this move for 4th place against Sebastian Bode. Boberly will be an easier nut to crack, but he can't afford to waste too much time here behind the CD Sport entry. Up the curve goes Jan Marszalowski. He seems to have more determination in the way that he's going than did Théo Nui in the first stint. There are the leading McLarens, then going down towards turn 1. 0.406 of a second between the pair this time. For 3rd place is Jean-Luc Boberly, leading Pro-Am. And Marszalowski's got to be brave here and make that move to the inside now, which he does. Gets level with Sebastian Bode and goes through. Unless he runs wide, that's his place. He does go deep into the corner. He does go wide. He goes off the circuit, but he's still got the inside line for turn 2. And so Jan Marszalowski commits to that line and goes through, takes the place, goes out wide at 3. But even that didn't give Sebastian Bode much of an opportunity on the approach to turn 3 to make the move. So Jan Marszalowski has done it. And now the real question is whether he can get up to the McLarens by the end. On pace, yes, he can certainly clear Boberly. Sebastian Bode comes back, though. Jan Marszalowski now 4th for Team Zach Speed. Goes down towards the turns 5 and 6. Flick the left and the right here. But it shouldn't take him long now to clear Bode, to pull away. And he's doing it already, look, going down the hill. So Jean-Luc Boberly is the next target. So there the two McLarens go by, heading towards the Schumacher S. And as they do so, the margin 4/10 at the start of the lap. But Bailey Voisin getting a bit frustrated here as a big slide there hooks a wheel over the curb for Jan Marszalowski. The Mercedes presses on. But it looks like a different car. Théo Nui might have been a bit smoother, but he certainly didn't seem to have the commitment, the aggression, the urgency about the race that Jan Marszalowski is evincing right now as he comes into the Ravenel curve. He's getting away from Sebastian Bode, no question about that. And there, Jean-Luc Boberly is being reeled in. The margin at the start of the lap between them was 4 seconds. Right now, they're going to be together at the end of the lap. Jean-Luc Boberly's last lap, a 2:09. So, not as expected, reflecting the pace of Jim Pla, but it's a class win that Jean-Luc Boberly is after. The leading McLarens go by, and Gus Bowers, hat tip to him, is doing a good job of keeping at bay Bailey Voisin, who's taken more of the plaudits than has Gus this year. Gus had his big off at Zandvoort, which knocked his confidence a bit, but he's done a good job of regrouping after that. And here could be on for his day of days, couldn't he, as he fends off the sister car that leads the championship. Now in 3rd place, Jean-Luc Boberly, 1.6 seconds up on Jan Marszalowski. That's going to change on this lap. Marszalowski 12 seconds away from the leaders because he lost time having to fight his way past Sebastian Bode on that previous lap. 15 more minutes of the race to go. Gus Bowers still leads the way. Second, right on his tail, is there, as you can see, Bailey Voisin. And here, further down, is Christophe Amon, who is on target to win the AM class in the race and therefore the championship. So Christophe Amon taking over from Michael Blanchemin. The car comes over the line, and it's absolutely on its own because it's cleared Pascal Bachmann and Paolo Maloney, Aston Martin and BMW respectively. So here, another championship set to be sewn up for the number 69 Audi. We had Pro-Am yesterday, we're going to get Am today, and a penalty being given, a 1-set stop and go for a short pit stop. Number 27, Konstantin Lachenauer and César Gazot, Zandvoort winners. But here, a pit stop error, and they're going to get a stop-go penalty to make up the shortfall. McLarens are still hard at it, though. Gus Bowers ahead of Bailey Voisin. This lap 21 as they now make that climb towards the chicane again. So just dropping back a touch on this lap there. You see Bailey Voisin not quite as close as he was. The danger of being stuck in dirty air is that you give your tyres a much tougher life. In the background, Jan Marszalowski gets ahead of Jean-Luc Boberly there, goes through for 3rd place. So the charging Zach Speed Mercedes now comes up towards the chicane through the so-called soft version, the motorbike version, less stop-start. Makes it more of a flowing nature of a circuit, and that is Joel Sturm getting all towy on the curbs. So now this battle pack of Jean-Luc Boberly, Sebastian Bode, Joel Sturm for 4th place is going to change. Here was the move. and it was all rather inevitable as the Silver Cup car has greater pace. Jan Marszalowski easily through on the inside, coming out of that right-hander of the Ad Van Bogen. There, the two McLarens. Lap 22 now, 0.4 of a second again is the margin. Gus Bowers in a car that has led every lap thus far, hangs on to position. Dean McDonald's great efforts early doors. And there, off the road, that Paolo Maloney's BMW, I fear, that was third in the Am Cup, and it's had a lose coming out of turn 8. Very odd place to find a car, that, on the climb up the hill. Let's see how he got there. Might have had a bit of help looking at this. So it is the Patrick Zamparini Toyota that gets up the inside. Contact is made, and then more contact with the Aston Martin behind. That turns it across the circuit and into the barrier. So that was Nicolas Gomar, last year's Am champion in the Aston Martin, that was the second aggressor. And Paolo Maloney is the one that comes off worst, so that takes him out of third in the Am fight as the leaders there turn their way once more out of the Schumacher S. It's lap number 22, and now 12 minutes and change on the clock. So as the cars now drop down hill once more, is Bailey Voisin going to be able to have another go for the race lead? He's a little bit nearer, suggesting that if he did drop back to give his tyres a breather, he's now mounting an attack once again. 12 minutes to go. He'll be fully cognizant of how much time there is left in the race. He'll be getting instructions on the radio, but he'll also perhaps be saying, I'm a bit quicker, can't you ask him to let me through? And the answer to that's going to be no, because Gus Bowers and Dean McDonald are in a perfectly legitimate fight for the win here, and it's good to see the two United Autosports cars running so evenly matched this weekend, because on occasions 32 has been a little bit overshadowed. Good battles further down. You've got the Timon Nabour Chevrolet going through ahead of the next train of cars, involving the Audi at the back of Rui Meerhouse. There is Ruben Del Sart coming up to have a go at Paul Everard's Mercedes. So this is now for 9th place, this fight, as they come through. Everard just ahead of Del Sart, and then Rui Meerhouse just up the road ahead. Through they turn, and a replay here of how Timon Nabour's got ahead of Paul Everard. So the Chevrolet, slightly robust, but it worked, goes through, and that put Paul Everard off his stride somewhat, and he's now under attack from, as you can see, Ruben Del Sart as they drop down through turn 1. Right now, Ruben Del Sart is the one in this invidious position of trying to attack and defend at the same time. He has got right there behind him Rui Meerhouse, who took over from Clement Zeiler, and he's trying to find a way ahead of Paul Everard in the blue-nosed Acker Mercedes as the cars now come down to turn 5. And in fact, Timon Nabour, having cleared the Mercedes, has stormed away in that 9th place now. Del Sart drops downhill. Good first stint as ever by Tom Canning in that car. And Rui Meerhouse at the back of the queue. So there the race leaders turn up the hill. Number 23, McLaren, Bailey Voisin, still hustles on in pursuit of Gus Bowers, and they are running out of laps, running out of time, and therefore for Voisin, running out of options. Towards turn 17 they come now together. So the margin as they break the beam at the end of the lap is, again, 0.4 of a second, but what, if anything, now can Voisin do to find a way past? Gus Bowers has done a really good job of hanging on to that race lead, but the pressure becoming more and more with every passing lap. The margin is not getting any greater, so the pressure is mounting. Jan Marszalowski still third, lapping quicker, but only by about 0.4, 0.5. So he's bringing the gap down against them, yes, but not by enough to really be a threat for the final few laps. Joel Sturm there has got himself up past Jean-Luc Bobelic, so the Porsche is now into 5th, Bobelic 6th, 7th is Xavier Lloveras behind. And there Jean-Luc Bobelic almost getting into the back of the Cayman. That means he has to back out of it, and therefore it brings Lloveras even closer to him. Joel Sturm trying to carry on the good work of Nikolai Moller-Madsen, and Jean-Luc Bobelik is about to lose another place. Through on the inside line, there goes Joveras. So the Mercedes number 15 goes by. Jean-Luc Bobelik still clear of the Pro-Am opposition. Alexander Hartwig is in 13th place. Now Bobelik has dropped into 7th. 8.5 minutes to go. He should be good to hang on in there. Just looking to see, it's about 36 seconds off the race leaders for Hartwig. It's about 21 for Bobelik. He's only got about 15 seconds in hand. It's not a massive margin. And the Porsche will be hustling along. So Alexander Hartwig on a mission to see if he can catch Bobelik by the very end. The last lap's going to be very tight, I think, between those two, looking at lap times. Joel Sturm under attack. Javier Joveras comes up to have a go, and the Porsche squirms there under braking for the Ravenol curve, but Joveras not quite able to take advantage of it, but he's certainly got the speed, hasn't he? If he can only find the real estate to get past. He needs a tight line out of the corner to get up the inside now for the Advan Bogen, but it ain't going to happen for him. So the Allied Racing Porsche keeps its position. Through goes Joel Sturm. Right there behind him is Joveras. Jean-Luc Bobelik coming under attack now from Edouard Coopé. And up the curve goes Sturm. Into the right here, coming up through turn 17, and again a little touch in the back saying hurry up. Javier Joveras on a mission, so also is Bailey Voisin. 7 minutes and change on the clock. The race leaders absolutely tied together once more as they come down towards turn 3. So through they turn, but Bailey Voisin has not yet got an answer. He's trying to force an error out of Gus Bowers, but it's just not coming. Gus Bowers doing a very good job of hanging onto the lead, hanging onto the line, soaking up the pressure. Comes then now through the arena as the battle lower down between Everard, Delsart, Meohaas. This is 9th, 10th, 11th, I should say, is still alive, this fight. They come through together with the clock ticking on down. Remember, a flying lap at the moment is over 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 7 last time around for these leading cars. And still Gus Bowers has just the answer to anything thrown at him from that second-placed McLaren of teammate Bailey Voisin, as again Joveras tries to find a way past Sturm. He's also got Coopé coming up to challenge as well as they make the run down the hill, and Coopé number 2 Mercedes does get up alongside. You can see that Timon Naburs is right with them now in the Chevrolet, because he's about to get past Jean-Luc Bobelik on the inside line, almost 3 wide at turn 8. Coopé up the inside of Joveras and Sturm. If this pays off, it's going to be the move of the weekend. Great stuff. Number 2 Mercedes then on the outside of the Porsche, squeezed up the curb, doesn't go past Sturm, but he did get past Joveras and then gets onto the gravel, and off and out wide he goes, and Joveras likewise, and he gets even more gravel and falls down the order. Javier Joveras off the racetrack. That is the peril of the Schumacher S. He's become one line with all the gravel spat onto the road, and if you put wheels on it, the grip just disappears. It's like driving on marbles, and out wide. First of all went Coopé, even wider Joveras, and that's done for both of their chances, certainly badly for Joveras. He's the one that drops down even further. And Timon Naburs makes good benefit out of all of that. As Joel Sturm on the limit loses out. Naburs round the outside into the chicane. Fantastic move. That is a very difficult pass to make, and Timon Naburs did it brilliantly. Naburs through. That is going to put him up into 4th place in the Chevrolet. Yesterday we were being told that the car isn't necessarily that well suited to this circuit. Well, what a lap, because Timon Naburs started at 8th and he's going to finish it 4th as he comes over the line. Brilliant stuff. 5th then is Sturm, 6th is Coopé, 7th is Bobelik, 8th Everard, 9th Delsart, 10th Meohaas, and down to 11th place after that gravelly moment is Javier Joveras, and he will be absolutely furious as there Joel Sturm tries to get back up on the inside of Coopé now, who's got past him as well. So has that Porsche got a problem? Another place lost. I did think when it lost its place going into the chicane, it looked to be crabbing ever so slightly. That a legacy of incidents earlier on in the race, as now the McLarens are closer than ever. Bailey Voisin has got bored with sitting there and wants to pass as Paul Everard has spun himself out of 8th place at turn 3. Gets going again. Paul Everard mighty frustrated, that's for sure. So there, Timon Naburs, the real hero of the last few laps. Great effort that to get the car into 4th place now. He's not going to catch Jan Marszalowski, but 4th is a really good result. Goes up through turn 8, climbs the hill once again here. Joel Sturm having to work that car very hard. He's up the curb, he's sideways. Does he hang on to it? He flicks at the AM Championship leader, champion-elect, Christophe Amont, Michel Blanchemin. But there Joel Sturm survived, but only just, because back up the inside of him goes Bobelik. And there also Ray Moorhouse has got ahead of the Ruben Delsart. Accident contact is made. Joel Sturm's Porsche gets fired off the road. Moorhouse is off as well. And in all of that, so too is Ruben Delsart, but he just found the grass around the outside of the gravel trap. Joel Sturm gets back onto the circuit, but I fear that Rui Moorhouse is stuck in the gravel. The Israeli driver going no further. Now have a look. Joel Sturm's Porsche, it is crabbing. He gets attacked on the inside by Bobelik, and then Joel Sturm, they go 3 wide. Yeah, it was Delsart that clipped Moorhouse, who clipped Sturm. So Ruben Delsart was the catalyst for all of that, and ending up with 3 of them in the gravel. And Ruben Delsart got away with it, because there, look, he finds that sort of access road round the back of the gravel trap, and it has brought Javier Lloveras back into the mix. There he goes. So race order, it is still Bowers ahead of Voisin, ahead of Marszalowski. That is unaffected. Nabours runs 4th. Koupe is 5th. Bobelik no longer 6th, because there Lloveras goes 6th, and 7th is going to be Alexander Hartwig. And look now, this is the Pro-Am battle absolutely together. So the Mercedes and the Porsche, 87 Bobelik, 26 Hartwig. This is for Pro-Am honours with 2 minutes and change on the clock. There's going to be time for 1 more lap at the end of this, and Jean-Luc Bobelik, he's going to have to defend like never before. Alexander Hartwig is right there behind him as they come down through turns 5 and 6 now. Mercedes versus Porsche for the Pro-Am lead. Bobelik a little bit delayed in that skirmish with Sturm, but even so, Alexander Hartwig's pace has been very, very good indeed. And this will be a first Pro-Am victory of the season if it works. Alexander Hartwig then comes out of turn 8. The Cayman on the back of the Mercedes. He's got another lap at the end of this in which to plan and plot the move and then try to pounce for Allied Racing. And Jim Pla thinks, oh, it's happened again. All his hard work in the first stint comes to nothing then. They've had 1 Pro-Am win, Bobelik and Pla. That was at Zandvoort. And this is about to dissipate, I think, because there, up the inside, looks Alexander Hartwig, can't go through. Jean-Luc Bobelik tries to defend as best he can here. Goes left, goes right. Javier Lloveras trying to get away. Number 15 Mercedes now running in 6th place. But for 7th in the Pro-Am lead, they are absolutely together. And Alexander Hartwig has just about enough time on his side to make the move. And he's going to try at the chicane here on the run up the hill. He gets the inside line. He commits and he goes through to take over the lead of Pro-Am. Good pass. Alexander Hartwig goes through then. And Jean-Luc Bobelik slips back a lap from home. The race leaders are on the last lap though. And the margin 0.4 of a second between them. Alexander Hartwig goes down as the new Pro-Am leader to the first right-hander out of the arena, as down towards turn 8 come the leaders, and Gus Bowers has done an outstanding job, as Dean McDonald did in the first stint, of hanging onto the race lead and not cracking under the pressure, because there you can see number 23 right in the wheel tracks, that being Bailey Voisin. The cars now make the run up the hill once again towards the Schumacher S, but if it hasn't happened now, it ain't going to happen at all, I don't think, for the chasing McLaren in the hands of Bailey Voisin. That incident at turn 11 a little while ago, which took Sturm and Delsart and also Moorhouse off the road, that's under investigation. But for the last time, Gus Bowers tries to keep Bailey Voisin at bay. Is Bailey going to throw everything at it or just bank the points? Again, in the knowledge that the championship rival Toyota has not finished, has not scored. There's no reason to get gung-ho. Yes, he wants to win the race, but it's not worth risking everything, especially against your teammate, unless Gus Bowers leaves the door open having made a mistake, and that doesn't happen coming into the chicane. Does it happen coming out into turn 17? The answer is no. And so you loop round this last corner up towards the timing line. It's going to be a maiden win of the season then for Gus Bowers and Dean McDonald after a really impressive drive. Up towards the line they come, and it's a United Autosports 1-2 at the Nürburgring. This is the car that's going to be third. Jan Marszalowski then comes through in third spot, catching at the end but not getting close enough. Gus Bowers and Dean McDonald win. A very happy Gus Bowers wins then from Bailey Voisin, sharing with Charlie Fagg. Here for the Pro-Am win, Alexander Hartwig makes his way now up towards the chicane. Really good effort, really good charge to come through to take the win. So for Allied Racing, the Porsche comes towards the timing line. Alexander Hartwig carrying on the good work of Joel Camathias from that first stint over the line, and not only is it a Pro-Am win, it is also 7th place overall. It's a good result for the Allied squad. And then the next car of significance home is going to be Christophe Amont. Ruben Del Sart, incidentally, pitting on that last lap with the damage sustained. So where is the AM leader? There he is, champion-elect, coming up towards the chicane. So we had Pro-Am decided yesterday. We have AM1 today, as here the Audi comes up towards the timing line. And Christophe Amont and Michel Blanchemin score race honours in the class and take with it the championship as well. Well done, Gus Bowers and Dean McDonald. A great drive to score their first win in the GT4 European Series. Bailey Voisin and Charlie Fagg taking second. Jan Marszalowski and Theo Nue finishing in third. In Pro-Am, Alexander Hartwig and Joel Camathias, the winners from Jean-Luc Bobelic and Jim Pla. Third, the second Zack-Speed Mercedes of Robert Haub and Gabriela Yilkova. In the AMS, the champions, Christophe Amont, Michel Blanchemin, the winners from Patrick Zamperini and Anthony Hodson, and then Greg Faisal as a soloist taking third place, and they will head in due course up to the podium. So let's have a look at the results then to confirm not just the classes but also the overall order. And it was a win for Gus Bowers and Dean McDonald at the end of an excellent effort ahead of Bailey Voisin and Charlie Fagg. Jan Marszalowski and Theo Nue taking third place. Fourth, Timon Naboise and Jock Ropange ahead of Edouard Coopé and Hugo Chevalier, with Xavier Lloveras and Luc Ivanieff in sixth. Joel Camathias and Alexander Hartwig seventh, winning Pro-Am from Jean-Luc Bobelic and Jim Pla. Ninth, Robert Constany and Benjamin Lariche and Robert Haub and Gabriela Yilkova. 10th, and also third in that Pro-Am competition. Looking further down, lots of hard luck stories again, including for the second race in a row, the troubled number 8 Toyota, Antoine Potty and Stéphane Lemeret. Big kick as far as their championship hopes are concerned, that's for sure. And Ruben Del Sart and Tom Canning, having been running well, ending up a lap down, having come to the pit lane, but Roy Meerhouse and Clement Zeiler out in the gravel, and also out Joel Sturm and Nikolai Moller-Madsen. The damage just too great for that car as well. I think it got going, but didn't get very far. So it's a fairly spectacular incident involving the three cars. Everybody getting a bit opportunistic, maybe, and that incident being looked at by the race officials as their confirmation of the other retirements and the non-start for Jan Kasperlik's Porsche as well. So the championship situation now, a big advantage with one hand on the title. Bailey Voisin and Charlie Fagg, still 50 points on offer at the final races, but they are almost there ahead of Stéphane Lemeret and Antoine Potty. An excellent result for the United Autosports drivers. Yuki Banieff and Javier Lloveras now third ahead of Dean McDonald and Gus Bowers. That brings them into the mix ahead of Timon Naboise and Jock Ropange in the silver contest. As there, a very happy Gus Bowers arrives in the Parc Fermé area. He will step from the car, a very well-deserved race winner. Dean McDonald goes to congratulate him. We've done it, says Gus. And another good result for United Autosports in the championship this year, because that is a fourth victory. We've had 3 for the sister car, now 1 for that. So 4 out of 10, very good strike rate. There, Joel Camathias congratulates Alexander Hartwig, their first Pro-Am win of the season. So a good result for the Allied Racing Porsche team, making up for the team at least in the sense that the other car didn't even start the race. So admittedly one in problems, but another one comes through with the class win. So the celebrations well underway. We'll have the drivers making their way to the podiums, where there are, of course, podiums per class very shortly. Well, Gus Bowes and Dean McDonald take a maiden win in the GT4 European Series. Delighted they will be, and they are with Gemma Scott.
Congratulations, maiden win, and what a drive. Come to you first in. That first in, you were pushing very, very hard.
Yeah, I think maybe I pushed a little bit too hard at the start. I think, yeah, the car was perfect. Yeah, really good from all the team as well. But I think maybe I pushed a little bit too hard, starting to lose the rear a little bit. Yeah, but Gus done an amazing job in the end as well, just to bring it home. So yeah, I'm very happy.
Absolutely, the pressure on you there from the car as well, being your teammates with Bailey.
Yeah, no, it was horrible, to be honest, but yeah, the car was absolutely mega, and like I said at the start, it was all about track position, and Dean did exactly that, and I want to say thanks to Bailey for not trying anything silly, and it was all fair, it was all clean, and it's great to get a 1-2 for the team, so I'm very happy.
Absolutely, well deserved.
Thank you so much.
Well, Gus Bowes, Dean McDonald doing a great job. Bailey Voisin, respectful of his teammates. Yes, he desperately wanted to win, tried as hard as he could, but certainly didn't do anything silly and didn't cause any unnecessary incidents. How does Pro-Am now look? Well, we know that Fabien Michel and Greg Gilbert are already champions, even though they didn't do a lap in that race. And Luca Bosco now is second, ahead of Jim Pla and Jean-Luc Bobelic, then Max Busnelli and Ivan Jacoma, with Alexander Hartwig and Joel Camatheas now in the mix as well, having taken their first win of the season. So a good race as ever for the GT4 European Series. I know last year was a strange season in so many ways, but it's really good to have seen that the entry has bounced back this year. Last year it seemed that GT4 was hurt more than GT3, but we had big entries once again this year. And as we wait for the podium, let's have a look at the highlights of race 2 of the weekend that began with the United Autosports McLarens running side by side down towards the first corner. In the end, it was Dean McDonald that took the lead. Jim Pla, brake late, ran out wide. Through the middle went Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Just glanced off Theo Nue, who hit Greg Gilbert, who was turned around, and that car out of the race with a mechanical breakage. Lucky Ibanez's Mercedes ran the outside of the BMW of Beke Bessler. That car battled on, as on the inside line, a good move brought the Hugo Chevalier Mercedes up past Nue, and then we lost Jamie Caroline from the race, the car bouncing off the barriers, and quite a few drivers in strife early on. Making good progress though was Jim Pla. He moved himself up past Enzo Juliet and then proceeded to chase after the leaders as Theo Nue was under attack from the Hugo Chevalier Mercedes that tried to get through. It did indeed pass, and then Nue fought back, retook the position. Chevalier tried to retaliate. Into the pit lane first came the number 23 McLaren, which meant that Charlie Fagg gave it over to Bailey Voisin, and they tried to steal a march on the sister car on the pit stops. Dean McDonald giving way to Gus Bowes. Jan Marszalowski charging through the field, getting himself up past Sebastian Bode's Mercedes at turn 1, and then closing just a touch on the leading cars. The next target was to clear Jean-Luc Bobelic, and Timon Nabour was a bit robust, getting past Paul Everard, was another man in a big hurry, and he was able to benefit from another big skirmish ahead of him as the field came up the hill, because you had the Mercedes tripping over themselves trying to battle against Joel Sturb. Onto the gravel went both Coope and Lloveras, and it was Xavier Lloveras that ran off the road furthest, lost places. Then we had this sort out, again involving Joel Sturm. Del Sart hit Meyerhaas, who hit Sturm. They all went off with broken suspension and cars stuck in the gravel. They were not going to see the finish of the race. Alexander Hartwig relieved Jean-Luc Bobelic of the Pro-Am lead a lap from home, as up to a maiden win in the GT4 European Series came Gus Bowes and Dean McDonald, ahead of the sister United Autosports McLaren of Charlie Fagg and Bailey Voisin. So a great result for the United Autosports drivers, and there the podium ceremony gets underway, as called forward first are Jan Marszalowski and Theo Nue, yesterday's winners, and taking third place today. For second place, it is going to be then the United Autosports drivers of Charlie Fagg, who awaits his trophy, and then his co-driver Bailey Voisin there already. And for the top step, race winners for the first time this season from United Autosports once more. Gus Bowers and there Dean McDonald. For United Autosports then, the team represented on the podium. And an excellent result for the Anglo-American squad from its Yorkshire base. A 1-2 in race 2 of the weekend in the GT4 European Series. So well done to United Autosports. Charlie Kemp on the podium there for the team. Former racer himself, but these days running a very, very good operation, hugely successful GT4 team principal. And the teams, on the basis that they don't need the overalls again this weekend, go to town and celebrate in time-honoured fashion. And there's a rather soggy Charlie Kemp on the top step for the team. Mask off, big glug of champagne. But an excellent performance by the squad, and that sets up Charlie Fagg and Bailey Voisin very nicely indeed. Virtually home and dry as far as the Silver Cup in the Championship is concerned. So there, the drivers then to, in a moment, make their way off the podium. And we have, of course, still the Pro-Am and the Am podiums to come. But the United Autosports domination, very impressive. And we will look forward to the last 2 races of the championship next time out. For now, from the Nürburgring, from David Anderson and Gemma Scott, thanks for your company, and it's goodbye.